Echoes of Empire, a channel that explores world history through dramatic storytelling. Welcome to Echoes of Empire, where world history unfolds through dramatic storytelling and timeless narration. Here, we delve into the great tides of the past, exploring empires that shaped nations and lives. On this journey, you will discover stories both grand and intimate. If you enjoy reliving history's turning points, consider subscribing and liking the video to support more epic journeys through the echoes of time. Today's story is about Austria after 1918, a nation left reeling from the collapse of its grand empire. We will travel from the somber days following the First World War to Austria's modern rebirth within the European Union. Along the way, we witness the struggles, hopes, and unbreakable spirit that shaped a country in the shadow of loss. Let us begin our journey into history's twilight. Chapter 1: Twilight of an Empire. The year is 1918. The Austro-Hungarian Empire, once a crown of Europe's grandeur, finds itself at its end. Palaces stand tall, but shadows linger. Vienna's grand boulevards echo with footsteps of loss. The noise of war has faded, leaving behind silence and uncertain souls. Citizens wander, uncertain, as the world they knew dissolves. Yet, in this darkness, whispers of hope glimmer faintly at the horizon. In these final days, the empire's rich tapestry, its languages, cultures, and traditions begins to unravel. The city of Vienna, adorned with beauty, now wears a veil of sorrow. Each day, old certainties are swept away like autumn leaves, as families grieve and communities hesitate. But among the melancholy, seeds of new beginnings are quietly sown. In the uncertainty, Austria's people look toward a future not yet written, daring to dream even amidst the ruins. Chapter 2: Birth of the First Republic. As the guns fell silent in 1918, Austria found itself adrift. The centuries-old empire was gone, leaving only confusion and empty palaces. Towns braced for harsh winters and meagre rations. Destitute families crowded the streets. Politicians, many new to power, gathered in Vienna to dream of renewal. But forging a clear national identity from the rubble of imperial tradition proved The mood in Vienna was tense. Citizens faced breadlines and shortages while old loyalties crumbled. The collapse of empire left a vacuum, and with it came both fear and restless hope. Across smoky cafes and government halls, fiery debates erupted. What kind of Austria should emerge from the ashes? Should they tie their fate to Germany, or carve their own path as a small, independent republic? Into this uncertainty, Austria's leaders tried to plant the seeds of democracy. Men and women struggled to unite feuding factions and steady the nation's course. Drafting a new constitution brought endless arguments, yet amid the protests and political turmoil, Austria's spirit flickered with resolve. Out of strikes and hunger demonstrations, the first outlines of a modern state began to take shape, fragile but determined. Despite violence in the streets and deep divisions in the parliament, hope refused to wither. The First Austrian Republic was officially declared, a bold experiment in democracy rising from imperial shadows. Its survival was far from certain, but the dream of a nation governed by its people now lived in law. The unrest was real, but so too was the promise of an Austria born anew. Chapter 3: Years of Tumult and Division. The 1920s and 1930s in Austria were marked by relentless turbulence. Streets in Vienna echoed with protest, while inside shuttered homes, families found themselves riven by political strife. The wounds of war and the shock of economic decline turned neighbours into rivals. Each day brought new fractures, social bonds were stretched thin, memories of imperial unity fading before the In the solemn halls of Parliament, bitter debates revealed just how fragile this nascent democracy was. Politicians argued fiercely, each clinging to opposing visions of Austria's future, some rooted in tradition, others desperate for change. Outside, unemployment soared and breadlines grew longer. Many Austrians wondered if freedom meant only suffering and uncertainty. Amid the turmoil, the shadow of extremism crept closer, threatening the frail hopes that survived the empire's collapse. On the streets, crowds gathered with banners and raised voices. Some demanded reform and equality, while others longed for a return to old orders. Clashes between left and right erupted into violence, echoing through Vienna's grand boulevards. Within this chaos, everyday life continued for most meals shared in silence, fate anxiously discussed at kitchen tables. Austria's story now hung in the balance, shaped by both tumult at the top and suffering below. As the decade waned, the threat of authoritarianism loomed ever larger. Political gangs patrolled neighbourhoods. Elections grew tense, with uncertainty overshadowing every ballot cast. Family sans united were now divided over beliefs that felt irreconcilable. Yet, amid darkness, a quiet resilience endured. Ordinary Austrians persisted, holding close the fragile promise of self-determination. The years of tumult would deeply scar the Republic. Chapter 4: Anschluss and Loss. In the early spring of 1938, Vienna awoke under a new flag. The swastika unfurled above the ancient city as Nazi Germany claimed Austria, dissolving its independence overnight. Streets that once thrummed with lively debate fell silent as the world changed in an instant. For many Austrians, fear gripped their hearts, uncertainty clouded their futures, and familiar streets seemed suddenly strange and families gathered quietly in their parlours, listening to the distant stomp of marching boots and shouted orders echoing from the Ringstrasse. Mothers hushed their children, while neighbours who once greeted each other with warmth now exchanged wary glances. Whispered conversations weighed heavy with anxiety as old freedoms evaporated. The trauma of occupation seeped into Austrian homes, turning routine moments into acts of silent resistance against an identity under siege. In the heart of Vienna, Anna clung to her violin, her music once a source of joy now forbidden. She recalled the cafe evenings filled with laughter, and Schubert, now replaced by curfews and fear. Hans, a shopkeeper, risked discreet kindness, offering bread to frightened neighbours even as Gestapo eyes searched for dissidents. The narrative of Austria became one of resilience, of people who, when faced with darkness, sought small ways to keep hope alive. Across the city, the swastika's shadow stretched over palaces and humble flats alike. But among the silence, resilience whispered. Teachers secretly shared banned books, artists found subtle ways to preserve culture, and quiet defiance flickered in everyday acts. Each Austrian story echoed the nation's struggle caught between the weight of occupation and the longing for freedom. The journey through Anschluss was marked by hidden courage and a quiet refusal to let Austrian identity be. Chapter 5: Aftermath and the Search for Neutrality. The war's thunder fades, leaving Austria a divided land under the watchful eyes of Allied powers. Streets are marked by rubble, echoes of conflict lingering in every brick and shadow. Yet within this uncertain landscape, life presses on. The Austrian people, weary but not broken, begin to piece together their daily routines amid ruins, seeking hope as the sun rises on a different world. Children play among the remnants of shattered walls, while families gather whatever they can find to rebuild their homes. The city squares, once bustling, become gathering spots for quiet reflection and cautious whispers about the future. There is loss in every heart, but also a glimmer of resilience. Austrians lean on traditions, music and memories, finding strength as they navigate the occupations, hardships and yearn for a return to normalcy. With each passing season, reconstruction offers new beginnings. Brick by patient brick, communities rise from the devastation, united in purpose. Austrian identity is questioned and redefined, shaped by influences from East and West. Amid the presence of occupying soldiers, debates ignite about what it truly means to be Austrian. Out of hardship, a quiet determination forms to reclaim their sovereignty and carve a future free from external demands. Talks among leaders gather momentum, whispers of agreement echoing through government halls. Neutrality is spoken of with hope, an end to division, a promise for self-determination. The dream of a nation untangled from the world's rivalries becomes tangible. As these negotiations unfold, Austria's new role begins to take shape, setting the stage for its place in a rapidly changing and uncertain Cold War Europe. Chapter 6. The Austrian Miracle. The streets of Vienna pulse with life, markets overflowing with laughter and music as the country awakens from years of struggle. New buildings rise beside centuries-old palaces, a symbol of hope fusing with the pride of the past. Here, the old and the new embrace, echoing with the promise of a nation reborn. Each cobblestone whispers the story of a people determined to shape their future. Artists return to ateliers and concert halls, igniting a cultural renaissance that sweeps from grand theatres to cosy coffee houses. The vibrant energy of creativity spills through post-war Austria, weaving together tradition and modern expression. Painters, writers, musicians and architects bring fresh visions to life, underlining a society drawing strength from its history. Amid new skylines and restored masterpieces, Vienna's spirit soars, captivating locals and visitors alike. Everyday life in 1950s, Austria buzzes with optimism. Families gather in bustling bakeries, sharing sweet cakes and stories as children play in leafy parks. Trams clang along busy streets, weaving past clerks, craftsmen and scholars, all bound by hope. The air is thick with new technological wonders. Radios, cars, even the first televisions appear, their presence hinting at a world growing ever more connected and brilliant, a world shaped by resilience and renewal. Stability becomes Austria's new cornerstone. In these decades, careful policy and diplomacy guide the nation through shifting political seas. Leaders focus on unity and growth, fostering an environment where prosperity can take root. Secure and forward-looking, Austria crafts its identity as a bridge across old divides. The miracle of this age is not only in surviving hardship, but in forging a modern country proud of its legacy and confident in the path ahead. Chapter 7. Austria finds its voice. In the cool dawn of the late 20th century, Austria stepped upon the world stage with newfound confidence. The wounds of the past had not vanished, but a vibrant optimism began to shine through. Vienna's elegant streets blossomed with music, and the grandeur of historic festivals reawakened a sense of national pride. Austria's people felt an invigorating sense of belonging, rekindling their reverence for both tradition and progress. Austria's cultural spirit flourished as opera houses and concert halls drew audiences from every corner of the globe. Timeless melodies echoed within gilded walls, while artists, dancers and playwrights enchanted audiences with masterful performances. This renewed love for the arts was more than mere nostalgia. It carved out a unique place for Austria as a haven for creativity. Even everyday conversations buzzed with excitement for theatre premieres and the promise of theatre premieres and the promise of festivals under starlit skies. Austria did not simply look inward. The country emerged as a respected voice among international organizations, championing diplomacy and cooperation in a rapidly changing Europe. Vienna's opulent ballrooms became gathering places for world leaders, where ideas and accord mingled as easily as waltz steps on polished floors. With each successful summit and inspired negotiation, Austrians stood tall, taking pride in their nation's peaceful influence across continents. This chapter of Austria's story pulses with optimism, a nation embracing both the grandeur of its past and the promise of its future. Through every celebration, cultural revival and diplomatic triumph, Austria rediscovered its unique identity. By night, fireworks adorned the skies above the Danube, while by day, the gentle optimism of a resilient society hinted that Austria, once shaped by empire, had truly found its own enduring voice. Chapter 8. A Nation Among Nations. As sunlight breaks across the Alps, Austria steps into a new age. The long road from empire, marked by hardship and hope, has brought her people to a doorstep of unity unknown for generations. European Union membership is not only a political shift, It is the culmination of a collective journey, proof that resilience can open borders and bridge centuries of change with pride. Across the valleys and cities, Austrians awaken to the promise of something larger than themselves, yet still deeply rooted in their heritage. With every treaty signed, every flag raised beside the gold and red, the nation balances tradition and transformation. Old rivalries now turn to new partnerships, and a spirit of cooperation quietly replaces the shadows of past divisions, weaving Austria into the fabric of modern Europe. Yet, Austria does not lose itself in the crowd. The Viennese waltz continues to echo through grand halls, mountain villages cherish their alpine customs, and families gather in the warmth of shared history. The Austrian identity remains unbroken, distinct amid the chorus of nations. Pride flows not from conquest, but from perseverance, in the artistry of daily life and the quiet strength that revives communities within their restored homeland. At last, Austria stands as both European and uniquely Austrian, a symbol of peace nurtured by memory and renewal. Its story closes not with fanfare, but with a gentle sense of belonging, a mature nation, ever watchful of its past and hopeful for its future. In mountain sunlight and city shade alike, the journey continues, a testament to unity, resilience, and the enduring power of home.